Some languages have grammatical gender. As we'll see, the word gender here is a bit misleading. Let's start with an example in Spanish. If we wanted to say the child, the is el or la. How do you know which one? Well, if it's child, male child, it's el. If it's a female child, a girl, it's la. And if we want to add an adjective to it, small, then it's pequeño if it's a boy and pequeña if it's a girl. So far, when we're talking about people, you easily get the impression that this language seems to be really preoccupied with the gender binary and is all about categorizing people into their gender groups. This is actually misleading. If we take a more global perspective, we can see that a more insightful term is to think of not gender, but noun classes. And in this map from the World Atlas of Language Structures online, each dot represents one language. You see how many white dots there are? That's the majority of the world's languages which do not have noun classes. Now, most of us are more familiar with European languages, red dots. They represent languages that do have two, maybe three noun categories, and they are not all about gender, but they are linked to gender as a social category. And especially in Africa, see the blue dots, these are languages that have often a larger number of noun classes. And sometimes the blue dots are the ones that do not have a connection to gender at all. We can see an example here in this language that I don't know, that seems to be called Masina Fulfulde. We see that there are apparently 4 noun classes. Person, elephant, boat, and tree go into 4 different categories, and clearly that's nothing to do with gender as a social category. It's that depending on which category a noun is in, you know whether the is o or ba, ka, or ki. And so similarly, back to our example from Spanish, when we're not talking about people, but more generally, other nouns in the category unfortunately called masculine would be limón, lemon, ojo, vino, zapato, and some nouns in the category unfortunately called feminine, estrella, bicicleta, pelota, llave. Clearly, this does not have to do with categorizing people. And in fact, it's more insightful to note, rather than saying this has something to do with gender, that the so-called masculine are simply nouns that fit in that blank, and the nouns categorized as feminine are simply the ones that fit in this other blank. In fact, this is similar to in English, where we have, depending on what the form of the verb is, if it's barks or bark, well, if it's barks, then it's a dog, one dog. If it's bark, then it's 2 or more dogs, the bark. This isn't a matter of agreement. For us in English, subject-verb agreement, but this phenomenon in Spanish with gender is the same sort of thing linguistically. So in general, I want to say that grammatical gender in languages isn't about categorizing people according to the gender binary. That's not the primary thing. This is a feature of how words fit together in sentences. People who speak Spanish or other grammatical gender languages didn't deliberately design a system like this. It's a natural system that arose and developed and evolved. And I'm pretty sure that speakers do not somehow think that bicycles are female and that shoes are male. But there are many nouns that refer to people, so there is a potential for social repercussions, especially when we think about occupational labels. El médico, the doctor, is a masculine noun. Presidente is a masculine noun. So when a woman wants to be a doctor or the president, well, there's a challenge with how to speak about this person.